Okay, awesome. Thanks everybody for coming out today. This is something very special for us. We're a new group forming called Teton People of Color and Allies, and we are so excited to be here. So before we started, I wanted to go over a couple of ground rules for our march. Oh, sorry. I forgot. My name's Corianne Arrett. I am co-chairman of this group. And, yeah, back to the rules. So, first we ask that you respect everyone here and everyone around you. Sorry, this is just annoying. So that we can have a peaceful protest together and everyone can share in this experience. Next, we would like to speak on the part of we are not chanting at this event. I know a few people were not so happy about that, but there will be other opportunities or other protests. I think this is a protest where we would really like to see people reflect on why they're here today. Is this just for a good Instagram post, or is this because you really believe in what you're standing for? So please no chanting, and if you see your neighbor chanting, please kindly ask them to refrain. Okay. We will probably face some opposition going forward. We beg of you please not to engage. We have a de-escalation team on our side who will help us out. And we have some flowers we'd like to pass out to anyone who is feeling unhappy at the moment. Or if you'd just like a flower, please raise your hand. Yeah, we weren't kidding. We'd like to thank the police department for being here with us today. It means a lot because our group is all about standing in unity. We are here to make a difference, not to cause problems, and we appreciate that they are standing next to us. The last thing I'd like to say is please remember that we are all here in unity. We are here to march forward with love in our hearts and to inspire change and dialogue. So let's all gather in front of this police officer here, and we'll be on our way.
Flowers. Can someone give Jalen a flower?
Here.
Oh. Thank you.
No. No. This way.
No.
Straight.
Straight. You guys have a nice day.
I'll take one.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Anybody else want a flag?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. We love the police too. Woo!
Everybody, as you get into the square, please just spread out. And if you want to sit down because we're going to have some guest speakers. So I don't think everybody wants to stand up the whole time. So just spread out and get comfortable. Once everybody does, we can start.
To all those still filing in, please remember to social distance as much as possible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? I want to thank everybody on behalf of the Teton POC and Allies body for all of you all coming out to support. Jackson really came out. I appreciate it. So we have a couple of guest speakers that we want to present to you all. We have 3 of them. The first guest speaker is a very important person, a special person. I'm happy that he came out to talk. State Representative Mike Yen.
Thanks, Jan. Thank everybody for coming out. Look at this crowd. I think we have quite a few people, and there's still people coming in. There's still people coming in. Can you guys hear me? No? That's good. How about now? Can you guys hear me? Okay? Anybody? No? I'll try to speak up. Speak a little louder. Okay. I'll try to speak really loud. So, hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm Mike Yen, state representative. I represent the town of Jackson. It covers pretty much the whole town except for a little bit on the north end of town. I'm one of very few people of color in the Wyoming State Legislature. I'm really proud to see Jackson come out. I think this is amazing. You guys are amazing. I want to thank the organizers for giving me a chance to speak. I think like many of you all, there's a lot of jumbled feelings in my head. I wrote down a couple of notes on like, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say as an elected official? What am I supposed to say?
John Thorne, where's he at? Oh, okay, John. Okay, so John is going to be our next speaker. Here you go.
Can you hear me? I hope you'll bear with me. I'm not used to talking to quite so many people all at once. I'd like you to bear with me again for a moment and just... Can't hear me? Ooh, it's hard for me to talk loud. You gotta love Jackson Hole. I look around and I'm near brought to tears to see so many people gathered together and exposing themselves to such risk to move forward and make this land the land of equality that we were promised. These things we're going to have to get used to. And I'm a firm believer that in every crisis there's opportunity. And thinking about this mask thing that's going to be going on for a long time to come is not over. Whew. I'll try. I only talk this loud when I'm calling my dog. Where was I? Oh, the mask and the opportunity. Usually when I look at a group of people, I see their faces, I see their smile, I see their scowls, I see the furrows on their brow, and now all I can see is their eyes. But Shakespeare said that the eyes are the window to the soul. And so maybe this is our opportunity as we pull ourselves together and get out there to keep marching and protesting for equality in this land. That we take care of ourselves and we protect the other people around us. We don't want to kill our fellow protesters or their families or friends, so we wear the mask to protect others. And that's what this is all about. Staying safe, protecting others, talking with each other, and as I counsel people frequently, listen more slowly. Listen to the data, listen to what you're hearing, think about the choices you made. Look around for a moment. I don't know how many people here, more than 50. And That means there's at least 55 stories of how come we are here. Each one of us made a decision to be here. And we'll continue to make those decisions as we move forward, because this is a marathon, this is not a sprint. This will go on and on. We haven't yet reached our first wave here, but it'll come, and we'll cope with that. We have two viruses we have to cope with. One nature has given us, as she does every once in a while, and we've managed to survive and get through it. And we're smart, we'll know how to do that. And the other one was created by man ourselves, and that one we have to stop now. We can't afford another 400 years of dealing with this sort of thing. So what it takes from here, yeah, vote for sure. Learn to talk louder so that people can hear you. Speak your truth. Stick your sword in the sand and stand beside your truth. Share it with others. Listen to theirs. Help them understand the reality of living together in a nation of equality and freedom and growth and potential. Thanks much.
Thank you, Dr. Thorne, for that very inspirational talk that you just gave. I really appreciate you on short notice being willing to speak. Our next speaker, another Jackson local, Arthur.
Hello. First off, I didn't come here to do a speech. They kind of like grabbed me out of nowhere, but I feel like it'll be selfish not to. I feel like it would be selfish not to express my experiences. First off, I'm 29 years old, and I've never in my life seen this many non-black people stand up for black people. So, first off, I just want to thank y'all. I'm from Southeast Arkansas. A lot of people don't know. I'm from a small town called McGee, Arkansas. It's maybe like 30 minutes from Greenville, Mississippi, and it's like an hour from Louisiana, Monroe. So, and it's a pretty different world for black people in those places, you know. And I didn't understand it until I really came here. And I was always closed-minded, you know, because I felt like, why would I have to educate anybody about me? You know, I was real selfish. But being here, it like changed my perspective. And it's important that we stand up. Black Lives Matter was created in 2013 to stand up for unarmed black men in the country, in our country, the US of A, particularly in 2013, in 2012, Trayvon Martin. So it's not that no one else matters. We all matter. But when we say Black Lives Matter, we say Black Lives Matter for those kids who don't have a voice. So people ask, how can we change things? It'll take time to change things because it's been a lot of hurt that's been done. But we can change things if we do this here. Of course, we won't always agree of which president is this or which president is that. But we have to agree that we need to be equal. So if I'm a black man and I don't have a voice, I would like for you or you to stand up and be like, hey, that's not right. So the main thing is we gotta have love for each other, because hate don't stop nothing, you know? So I just hope somebody listening, and that they would spread the message to their kids, you know, because I want my kids to grow up and be able to feel, not only be free, but to feel free, you know. So if you see somebody done wrong, I don't care who it is, man, stand up for them. Because at the end of the day, we need each other, you know. Nobody is no better than anybody, and God is real. So if you don't believe that, then you lost. So we gotta come together. And if we want change, you gotta be that change. Speak up, don't sit in the back. That ain't gonna help nobody. Expose the truth. I know it sucks to hear the truth, but educate me. You know, I wanna be educated. It's important to educate yourself. I might not see a lot of y'all ever again, but if y'all see me, just know that I'm not just fighting for me, I'm fighting for everybody. And if I was just fighting for me, I wouldn't be here. So I love Jackson, and I thank y'all for standing up for people that look just like me. And like, I can't even express how I feel. I couldn't even tell you how I feel to be looking at a crowd and they listening to me, you know, about how I feel. I didn't come here with a speech written, so it's not perfect. It's not, you know, maybe not along the lines of whatever. But I don't even know the words to say. But I do want to say thank y'all and stand up, man. It's time to stop being quiet, because silence is violence. You know better than anybody if you hate, you can't kill how you hate. Love everybody. I'm out.
So I guess it's my turn to talk. I want to ask everybody a question, and I'm going to let one person out of the crowd answer this, okay? What does Black Lives Matter mean? Anybody want to answer it? One person. This is open dialogue.
Well, it means that if it is not treated with the same value, seen with the same value that ours, meaning the white people, then we have to do something. When people say, well, all lives matter, and something that I say, yes, damn right, all lives matter. That's why when some lives are disregarded or considered less than others, then we do have to step up and do something.
I like that answer. That was a perfect answer. I was just going to get to that point. The point is, all lives do matter. But statistically, Black lives do not matter. Latino lives do not matter. People of color's lives statistically do not matter. And that is the harsh truth. We need to change that, okay? So we can say everyone's life matters, right? But when people say Black lives matter, it's not saying, oh, I just matter, not you. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we need our voices heard, because for 400 years, systematic racism and oppression has been happening in this country. And we, as minorities, we are Americans, right? And since we are Americans, right, we share the same struggles as our fellow Americans, correct? Yeah. So when people ask why in Jackson Hole did we march, it's because we live in the United States of America and we share the struggles with one another. My community's problem, right? The Latin community's problem, even the white community's problem, right? It's all of our problem. We are all responsible to help and to uplift each other. And that is why we are here today. So I want to thank everybody again for being out here, okay? Another thing I want to talk on. How many police officers do we have in the area? If you could raise your hand, please. Okay, well, I want to first off thank the police officers for coming out and supporting us in this march. We wouldn't have been able to do it without them. A lot of people think that this march and the protests are just because of George Floyd. They're not. That's just a simple fact. You know, it's not. This is for every person of color who has been treated wrongly in this country. That is why we march. That is why we are here. And it would be wrong for me not to mention the 11 police officers that were killed as a result to the protests as well, because they had families, they had children, and they didn't deserve to lose their lives either, you know? And I think that when we march and when we talk and we speak, we acknowledge them as well. I think that's the right thing to do, you know, because they serve and protect our communities, right? And you know, growing up, I have law enforcement family. I know for a fact that not all cops are bad, you know? Not all of them are bad. There are some bad cops, don't get me wrong, okay? But not all of them are bad. So we shouldn't say, you know, profanities to the police, you know, because they deserve our respect as well. Because I can speak from experience that not all cops are bad, you know. And I just want everybody to know that we're not marching against the police at all. We support them. We want to open up dialogue with them. That is the point, dialogue. Without dialogue, America would cease to exist. That is what our founding fathers built this country on, was dialogue, being able to speak, democracy, right? And since we are a democratic nation, we need to talk to each other. Really talk, honestly. Because to be honest with you, there's not a lot of talking going on, okay? There's not. And I think that we all need to open dialogue. Because guess what? Sometimes I get scared, you know? Sometimes I get intimidated, you know? Sometimes I do want to speak up and talk, but sometimes I get scared. We all do. You know, sometimes we don't know the right things to say, how to approach things. But one thing a wise person once told me, and a friend of mine's, if you're white and you don't have a black friend, get one. Why? Because that black friend can tell you about how they grew up and what they have to go through. And then that white friend can understand. And if you're a black guy or a black girl and you don't have a white friend, get one. So you can tell them and you can educate them and you can let them know what's going on in your mind. Same thing with Latinos, right? I gotta give it up for you guys too, because you guys came out and supported as well. I really appreciate it. And I want to stress the point that this movement is not just for black people. It's not just for Latinos and minorities, it's for white people as well. We all need to stand up. We all need to speak out. Because if we don't, nothing will change. Nothing at all will change. There's a quote that I like to tell people. It's, the best is the least you can do with integrity, passion, and purpose. No excuses. And you want to know, that was my high school's motto, okay? But it's legit, because it's true. You know, because whenever you think you're doing the best, right? Let's say you're a bystander and you see something going on, right? You think you just telling somebody is the best that you can do. You letting people know what happened. You making sure that situation never happens to anyone else again. That is the best you can do. And everybody can continue to do their best. But sitting down and saying nothing and not wanting to understand where people are coming from, that's worse than not doing anything at all. Because you become tongue-tied. But anyway, you know what I was about to say. You become a part of the problem. And at this time, we need to fix problems, right? And if we don't fix the problems, and we just sit here and we say, hey, you know, this is going on, this is bad, you know, and you're sitting in your living room in front of your TV and you see everything that's going on and you say, this is bad. I wish I could do something. But you can. Get out, talk, engage in dialogue, talk to someone, talk to a random person and ask how they feel to be them. Talk. That's all you do is talk. When you open dialogue with a person, you get to know them. When you know someone, guess what? It's easy to understand where they're coming from. Because guess what? The fact of the matter is that most of you will not be able to sympathize with things that I have been through in my life. I probably will not be able to sympathize with things that you have gone through in your life, right? But we can learn empathy, compassion. I can listen to you and try to understand. I can hear you. I can comfort you, right? That's what we can do as a people. Because like I said, a lot of you can't sympathize with me on how it is to be a black man in America. Or I can't sympathize, well, partially sympathize with a Latino man, right? Talking about being Latino in America. You know? We can see eye to eye on a couple things, but I won't fully be able to know how it feels. But I won't be able to listen unless you talk. So that is my challenge to all of you, is to talk. Open up dialogue. Talk about problems. When you talk about problems, make sure you intend to find a solution. Because when you talk about an issue, you just get heated about it, and you put it under the carpet or on the back burner, nothing gets done. Right? So, what I need for all of you in the audience, Latinos, speak up. Open dialogue with people. Talk to people. You know, somebody sitting next to you, right? You may not know them, but tell them about your life. Tell them things that you've had to go through if you're comfortable. Black people, same thing. Speak up and talk. You know, no one's gonna know what you're going through unless you talk. Asians, same thing. Speak up and talk. Native Americans, speak up, talk. We want to hear from you. And my best advice to all of the allies out there who are helping us with this cause, right? Listen. And I mean, really listen. I'm not just talking about sit down and say, oh, okay, I hear you. Really listen. Really think about what they're talking about. Ask them questions. That is the best thing that you can do, is listen. When you listen, you help. And when you help, we get things done. Because we can't get things done without you. That's just the fact of the matter. We need everyone. We as communities individually can't get things done by ourselves. As a collective, we can. It's almost like an anthill, right? You don't see one ant just working, doing all the work. There's multiple ants, right? If you see an ant in a leaf, there's not just one ant, there's multiple ants carrying that leaf. It's a struggle. That's us right now. We need to help each other, listen to each other, open up dialogue, and understand. Mike brought up a couple of good points, so did Dr. Thorne. Mike said the best thing you can do to implement change is to change it yourself, right? It's to change it yourself. Be the change, right? Be a part of the solution. So if you see something wrong, change it. Guess what? If there's a city council bill or something that you don't like, or a policy that you don't like, guess what? Change it. Get a group together. Change it. Talk to each other, right? Be the change, right? I know a lot of people that talk, right? They don't like things. You know, they're disappointed in things, right? But guess what? If you sit there, you're not going to get anything done. So guess what? How about you get up? And why don't you run for office? Why don't you do that, right? Why don't you get people to support you on that? Because you have an issue, right? And multiple people agree with you on that, right? So guess what? Do something about it. Don't just sit there. Do something. So, at this time, I'd like to open the floor. I'm scared, but open the floor to dialogue, questions. Anybody have questions? I'm willing to answer questions, willing to talk. I'm pretty sure any of the Teton POC and allies will be willing to talk as well. So anybody want to say anything? Anybody want to talk? Questions? This is time for dialogue. I did not grow up here. So originally, I am from Toledo, Ohio. If anybody knows where Toledo is, right on the border of Michigan. I don't like Michigan. But I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I came from, I'll give you a little bit of my background. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother, growing up, we were poor. My mother, she put herself through nursing school. She bought her first house when she was 21, right? And she put herself through nursing school. And there were times my mother did not eat because she made sure that we were fed and that we had clothes on our back. She went to school hungry, but she still did her best to provide for us. She's my biggest role model because she taught me what the struggle was, and she taught me to love people. That's why I care about people so much. It's because of my mother. So thank you for that question. I appreciate it. So funny story, I originally came to Jackson with AmeriCorps and Triple C. And I came here to build Habitat for Humanity homes. That is how I ended up here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I was coming here, I thought, it's gonna be weird because Wyoming's not really a place, if you're out east, that you think about going to. You don't really think about Wyoming, and I thought, there's no black people in Wyoming. There's nobody nobody who looks like me, right? But I got here and I was surprised, definitely surprised. But I ended up falling in love with Jackson. I love Jackson. It's peaceful, I don't hear sirens, smog, none of that, it's peaceful. I love the mountains, I love the scenery. So I've been here for a while now, and so I don't plan on going anywhere. So I really love Jackson. Jackson is my adopted home, and I appreciate everyone here for making me feel welcome, making me feel welcome. So I really do appreciate that. Anybody else?
Yeah, right here.
So earlier you asked me what Black Lives Matter means. I was thinking about this a lot over the past couple weeks, and to me, it's like cancer, racism. It's a systematic problem in the human race. And the best way that I can compare it is to breast cancer. It's the most common type of cancer in the world. And BLM is exactly that. But if we find a cure to cancer, it doesn't just stop at breast cancer. All cancers benefit from the cure to cancer. If the Breast Cancer Foundation is the one that finds it, or the BLM Foundation is the one that finds it. And I just think that we can focus on this to the benefit of all racism. Can we all just stay here and disengage with whatever's going on?
Everybody, look, we are exercising our freedom of speech. They are doing that as well. We cannot and won't infringe on that right. So we can let them do whatever they're doing, but we're going to stay here and we're going to talk. Because just because a few people want to do that, that doesn't, rain down on our parade. Is there anybody else? Oh,
actually met Jayla through Habitat for Humanity. I wanted to elaborate on a point that he made earlier, befriending black people. I just wanted to say that having black people in your life as a white person is the closest that you can get to the fear that black people feel all the time. I don't know how many people here have a lot of friends that are people of color, but if you befriend them and you learn to love them, you start to worry about them. You start to worry that your friend is going to get shot or that they're going to be attacked just for the color of their skin.
Racism in Jackson.
So she asked me, has at any point in time, me or any of my friends ever experienced racism here in Jackson? I'm going to let someone answer that. Bama, where's he at? Come on up. Yep, I see you. Let's go. I'll let him answer that question. Doing the shimmy.
Yeah, Bama.
So, to give everybody a little history, me and Bama came here with AmeriCorps. This is why we are here. Okay, we came here to help the community. Okay, so I'll let him tell.
What's up, guys? I'm from Alabama, of course. That's why they call me Bama. But honestly, I tell a lot of people, they ask me that question a lot, and I say, hey, I'm from Alabama, and I never experienced racism until I came to Alabama. And that's kind of hard to believe, but it's the truth. And you know, it was really kind of disheartening because we came here to do something great, and we got met with an unpleasant response. But if you're taught to keep an open mind and keep pushing, you'll eventually find people that are like-minded and that are willing to give you an opportunity and willing to get to know you. So that's why I think that when he talked a lot about getting to know people, that is truly a thing. Take the time and make the time to get to know people.
All right, I like to speak my mind, you know. And since they asked the question, I've experienced a lot of racism, not particularly in Jackson, but in my life. My dad is a police officer. My mom is a security guard. And I have a brother. My mom raised me because I'm unapologetically black. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with anybody else. So that's the first thing. When you experience so much racism, you never know. You never know if maybe he looking at me like this because he mad today, or maybe he racist. So it's kind of hard to read. You know what I mean? So you kind of overlook a lot of things, and some things, you know, it's just blatantly racist. And growing up in the South, until I moved here, I never realized how racist I was, you know. I was very racist, and I didn't even know it. I was like, man, how could a black person be racist? We ain't did nothing but talk, you know what I mean? But you can, me being black, I can say that it doesn't help the situation to, it helps the situation to nag and tell people how you feel, but it doesn't help the situation to divide people. You know, you have to, me being black, I have to, maybe I might walk in a store, for example, and I have to approach people different. You know, I have to pull my pants up a little more, probably put my hair back. But me living this life, I understand, and I never understood how unfair it was until I got to Jackson and I married a white woman. So this is a crazy story. like, I consider myself as pro-black, you know, I'm like, yeah, pro-black. So when I met this girl, she happened to be a white girl. So at first I was like, nah, I'm gonna fall back, you know, because it's different in the South. I know a friend who was killed for sleeping with a white girl. And that's just the honest truth, you know, a truth that needs to be out there and heard. So that's why I felt the way I felt being in an interracial relationship. And to see the hate that even she gets, it's hard to explain to her because I know she can't understand. You know, I know she just want to log out of Facebook, but I can't log out of being black. You know what I mean? So it's an everyday struggle. But if I could just touch one person and you can understand where I'm coming from, you can help me a lot, you know, because if people are more willing to listen to somebody that looks just like them. And that's a problem with a lot of black youth now, you know. Honestly, man, none of the black youth I want to hear, they don't want to hear no white man, any white person speak, because they feel like, you know, they lying to them. And that's just the honest facts. So I feel like we need to educate ourselves and we need to have these conversations that don't nobody want to hear about, because people don't want to hear about the situation, but it's people that look like me that's living the situation. I'm here in Jackson. I don't even, it's hard to even explain my experiences. I've been stopped I've been here 4 years. I've probably been stopped maybe 7 times, 6 or 7 times. I'll say 6. 6 times. 3 of those times I've been pulled out the vehicle. But me always being scared of the police as a child, I was like, the only way I can make it is if they check my background and it's clear. So I'm 29 with a clear record. I've never been to prison. And I just thank God to be that far. And I just think about what if I did have a prior, you know, what if they did look at me a certain way. And that's a scary what if. It's scary to be in that mind frame, and it builds a lot of hate in your heart for people. But I just want to tell people that I've overcome hatred, and I just want to love everybody, because you can't win unless you love. And you do have to understand, because I mean, my education, I don't know how my education is. I know I can tell you how I feel. You know, I probably can't express it the best way, but if you take time to get to know a person, you know, get to know a person that don't look like you'll see that we all just alike, and we all want the same thing. And like, it doesn't matter your background, it don't matter who you like, who you don't like. Even if you don't love, show your kids that you do love. You know, give them an opportunity. You know how people believe in Santa Claus? Man, tell them that we do love each other. If you see something negative, just turn the TV off, man. You know what I mean? Like, we have to come together. And if we don't come together, in 2040, our kids will be up here screaming the same thing. And that's ridiculous. And I don't know nobody in here who 400 years old, right? I hope ain't nobody 400 years old. So man, let's just think about that. We know where we are, and let's just help our fellow American, you know, because we all here together.
All right. So, anyone else? I would love to hear from anybody else that wants to speak. Anyone else that has a different opinion?
Okay.
Oh, where? Straight ahead? Lady right there? So I'll get you first, and then I'll get you, okay? Yeah, come on up.
What can we do in our own community to start now, and how can we support Teton POC and allies?
To answer that question, what each and every one of you can do. So afterwards, after we disperse, me and the rest of the POC members, we are more than willing to answer your questions. Next week, we're actually going to start an interview process to kind of bring people in. We plan on doing a lot of educational programs, especially at the People's Market, talking about different subjects, volunteer services, picking up trash, community service events, right? Fundraisers, all types of stuff. Community involvement, that's what we're about, is community involvement. Doing better for our community, showing how diverse our community is, and being there for each other. So hopefully that answers your question. So if you want to know more, afterwards, just approach one of us and we'll be happy to give you some more information, okay? Oh, Zoom meeting. So if anybody is scared, you know, that they might contract COVID, which is understandable, we do have Zoom meetings. We are going to start setting up Zoom meetings. So if you want to join and be a part of the discussion, please give us your email, phone number, and we can send you the Zoom link when we have our meetings.
Thank you. My name is Rebecca. I moved here roughly 15 years ago. Grew up in a poor family in Jackson, Alabama. My parents were missionaries in Guatemala and Costa Rica when I was a child. My dad can speak a language only spoken by 75,000 indigenous Guatemalans on earth. I grew up in a village called Fray Bartolomeos de las Casas in the El Paton region. My family lived there during the 1986 Guatemalan coup. My family lived there in the 1986 Guatemala coup. I guess what I want to say is that, in my opinion, all lives matter. I grew up, I was a minority in my town. I'm a white minority in my town of Jackson, Alabama. And what I've learned is that the things that affect poor white people like me affected poor black people in our town. We struggle to make our marriages work. We struggle to raise our children. We struggle to have jobs that pay a decent living. The problems are some of the problems are all these jobs we're sending overseas where somebody can't even earn a fair wage. But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that 70% of black children are born in single families. I grew up, my first day of my freshman year of high school, I walked into the bathroom of my high school, and these black girls had another girl pinned against the wall, and she said, "Honey, if you want to live on your own, you've got to have a baby." That was an eye-opener for me. Having a baby was not a predicament. It's a way of survival. A girl was the first girl in my 9th grade class, or actually it was 8th grade class, to get pregnant, was raped by her grandfather. Single families, not getting decent jobs.
That is not true.
What's not true?
Black people are disproportionately affected.
How are they disproportionately affected? No, I'm saying, we're all the same, all lives matter.
So, I want to mention one thing. So, she said all lives matter, which they do, right? They do.
Let her speak.
I just want to say that we've been told that white supremacists are disproportionate, and I've read all the books, y'all, okay? I read a book a week. But let me say this, and I also grew up in the freaking hood, okay? Okay, The New Jim Crow. The New Jim Crow is a book I read, where the book talks about how Jarvis Cotton was labeled a felon. Society labeled him a felon. He was labeled a felon, his father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, his great-great-grandfather. Well, guess what I didn't mention in the book? Jarvis killed a 16-year-old kid for $35, okay? He was a felon. Society didn't label him a felon, he was a felon, okay? He killed a 16-year-old. I'm just saying this. If we want to talk about, no, please listen. Do we want to come up with solutions to help people? Do we want to come up with solutions? Because I genuinely care about the black kids and the white kids I grew up with. Do we want to see change? And what does that look like? And I don't believe...
Accepting that we're racist.
We're not racist. I'm not racist.
Accepting that we're racist.
I'm not racist, ma'am.
It looks like accepting that we're racist.
Can I say one more thing? 10 seconds. I'm going to cut this off on 10 seconds. Look at the nation of Israel and Jewish people, okay? The Jewish people don't go...
Go, stop. Quit it.
All right.
You're not giving her a solution. What's your solution?
So what is the solution?
I think that the solution is to improve all lives in America is to stay in school, be married before you have children. Statistically, that right there eliminates you from poverty. You know it's true, man.
We gave you your shot. That is not a solution.
So, to speak on one point that she made, and she said all lives matter. All lives do matter, but we as a people cannot progress until we figure out and acknowledge that everyone's does. Because statistically, my life does not. Statistically speaking, a Latino does not. That's based off of facts. That's not just us saying things. That's factual. So what she's saying is true. We all matter. But we can't get to that point unless we really sit down and look and see that statistically there's other people that don't. Okay. Oh, okay. I'll get you next, okay? If you want to come up.
Hi, can people hear me? Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad we're having a peaceful protest, but if you're not angry, then wake the fuck up. We need to understand that racism is systemic, and what that means is that's institutionalized. This looks like no access to healthcare, education. If you look at rates of incarceration, black and brown people are disproportionately affected. If you are not black, you benefit from anti-blackness. I am Asian, I benefit from anti-blackness. If you're silent, you're complicit. We all benefit from anti-blackness. We need to confront this. We do not have to rely on black people to educate ourselves. Go outside and just educate yourself.
Also, your proximity to black people, your friendship, your peers, it does not absolve you of your racism. It does not mean that you are not racist. Okay? You can listen to black music, you can know black people, that doesn't mean you do not hold prejudices and bias. Okay? And the first step, if for justice and you're wondering what to do, educate yourself. Examine why you think the things that you do, why you condone and don't condone the things that you do.
Right. That's true. And before I give you the mic, two things. Everyone wants to be black until it's time to be black. Okay? And each and every one of us, no matter what skin tone you are, you've had a prejudice. You've had a prejudice view. And I can admit I have too, right? And I'll tell you what that was. And I learned. I always thought, and this is funny, I always thought that white folks couldn't cook. But that's not true. That's not true. I've been surprised. So that viewpoint is gone, you know? So you're next. There we go.
I didn't mean to come up here and talk. But listening to the woman who was just up here and then the reaction that it brings out in people, and I think we all have a lot of strong emotion right now. I'm a teacher. I teach 4th grade. And in Teton Valley, I live over the hill. And we're a Title I school. We have a lot of poverty. We see poverty in the Hispanic community and in the white community, a lot of abuse and a lot of drugs and a lot of problems, way more so than in a lot of places I've lived before, and I grew up in Wyoming. But one of the things that's really important when my kids talk to each other is that regardless of what you're talking about, you're going to have a different idea or a different opinion or a different thought process. Even if you're in agreement, maybe the way you came to it is different, and everyone's coming from their own different place. And I think that the one thing that I would ask everyone to remember is that it's really important, even if you don't agree, or even if you're angry. I'm angry. I see 10-year-old children all the time who, the second they walk into a classroom, don't stand a chance because they speak Spanish. I'm angry at the way people are treated. But we can't heal our communities without listening to the people who have a different opinion. We can't force them to agree with us without meeting them halfway in the middle. You can't have a conversation without actively listening. And actively listening means that you are truly hearing their words. You are taking some time to understand why they have the words and the thoughts that they do. And then you're coming back with your opinion and your response. And what I see happening the most is just a lot of words being thrown at people and not a lot of words being received. And so I would just encourage everyone, especially when there's somebody whose opinion is very different from yours, to listen and then try to have that back and forth dialogue. It's hard, it's not easy, and I'm really good at helping 10-year-olds do that, and I find that I have no idea how to help adults do that. Because we've already hit a point where we have some very strong ideas, and we think they are right. And I think mine are right. I'm sure you all think you are right. We're all here because we think that we are right. But it's hard to bridge that divide without actively listening. I don't know.
I'm brilliant to see our community out today. I'll keep it brief. I'm a part of a group that's been meeting for a year and a half. We're called Jackson Hole DEI Collective. We've mobilized pretty significantly in the last few weeks to be responsive to now. I'm speaking because a project that we implemented last week is a conversation for white people to talk about whiteness. That's something all of us should be doing. You can go to our website, jhdei.com, and sign up. Likewise, we have had a BIPOC affinity space. You can sign up for that there as well. We believe that we make change by togetherness. Let's get together, make some change, and let's do the learning on our own time. Thanks to everybody who put this out.
Hi, my name's Tina. I am a sophomore at Jackson Hole High School. I'm Hannah. Hi. My parents own a store right there. It's called Amaron. They owned it in New York for 14 years. My mom is black. She's from the Dominican Republic, and my dad is from Croatia. He's white. I was born in New Jersey, but I moved to Jackson when I was 9 years old, and from the second I moved here, people treated me differently. When I got into middle school, people always asked me, "What are you?" Because they didn't know what I was, because I'm like mixed. I'm like an Oreo. Like, it doesn't make any sense to them. Yes. For a long time, I was mad about that, but what I learned is that one of our top priorities should be to educate people. Because when we learn, we grow, and that's how we change. And we need change right now, like a lot of it. I think that safety and freedom and equality and basic human rights, whatever your political stance is, those are not choices, those are not opinions, those are necessities. Those are the fundamentals of this country. I'm proud to live in America. I think we are strong, we are powerful, and we are great, but we need change, and we need it now. So thank you for coming out.
Along with that education thing, my life has been better since I was blessed with Tina. You need to culture yourself with varieties of people, and I know it's hard in this town, but knowing other things than just what you already know, it makes your life better. Like sitting at dinner with her parents and hearing about their stories of growing up, like you wouldn't even believe the stuff they say, and you just need to educate yourself, and that's all I have to say. Yes, Black Lives Matter.
So I wanna ask a quick question before I get to you, okay? Before I get to you. And I want everyone to be honest and raise your hand. No judgment, okay? Who here is a Democrat? Raise your hand. Okay, put them down. Who here is an independent? Put your hand up. Okay, all right. Who here is a Republican? I know it. Okay, I see you've in the back raising the flag. There we go. Yeah, all right. The point I'm trying to make is this. Despite party lines, love has no limits. Let's all work together to find solutions. That's the only way forward, is to work together. It's not a Democrat problem. It's not an independent problem, and nor is it a Republican problem. It is whose problem?
Ours.
Not the one I was looking for. No.
White people.
Say it again. Yep. There we go. American. There we go. Where's the... Okay, yeah, you wanted to speak. Okay, cool.
Hi, hello. I am not one to usually take a mic or speak up, but I imagine that's why we're all here. And I just wanted to remind everybody, especially our white allies that are here, that our friend over here that just spoke, white people, that is your friend. Come get your friend. Come find her, come talk to her. I'm all for a dialogue and understanding and listening to people, but it is not peoples of color's job to inform her, guys. That's your job, and that's why you're all here, and thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Come get your friend, come get Karen. It's hard enough to survive as a person of color right now, and these people are all doing their job and raising their voices, and I'm from Los Angeles and have seen all the protests and movement, and being here is so heartwarming to see everybody come out, and I'm just so inspired and so hopeful for the future, so thank you so much. I've been left up here. Okay, come on.
Hi everyone. So my name is Sofia Jaramillo. I am very white passing, but I am a POC. I'm very white passing, but I am a POC. My father is Colombian and my mother is American. I grew up in Idaho. We were just talking about how we all need to listen to other people's opinions. Well, I'm just here to say that I think we need to defund the police and we need to reallocate the money that has been disproportionately put towards our police department here and the sheriff's office. So that's it. Thank you.
Also to that end, Act Now JH is
I will say that defunding the police is not the view of the organizers, so if you're pissed off about that, please don't get angry at them. Direct your anger or questions to actnowjh at actnowjh.org or actnowjh on Instagram. Also, does anyone have my clipboard? There's an email sign-up list. Clipboard going around, thank you. I'll come grab that in a second. In Teton County, we have the Teton County Sheriff's Department and the Jackson Hole Police. Both of them receive disproportionate funding in our budget. If you Google Teton County budget, you can find the 2021 budget. The public safety budget, most of which goes to the Sheriff's Department, some of which goes to search and rescue and emergency management. We don't want to defund that. But most of it goes to the Sheriff's Department, and it is more than what public health, affordable housing, and every single human service get combined. That's bad. Don't cheer for that, that's bad. We need to take money out of that budget and put it into services that actually help people, because we have problems here in Jackson Hole.
Mental health.
Mental health. Affordable housing. People working 3 jobs and still not being able to feed their families. People living in their cars. School lunch debt. The list goes on and on and on. I'm sure that you can list them yourselves. We need to figure out a way to get the money out of the police and into the community, and that is good for not just Black people, not just Latino people, and white people also. It's good for everyone.
This community.
It's good for everyone in this community.
So everybody do your research. Find out what works. Were there any other questions or comments? If you have one, if you want to start coming up to the front.
And we'll take them afterwards too.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Excuse my whiny dog.
I just want to say a little bit about systemic racism and the conversation that we're all having, because I think that there's a misperception that if we say Black Lives Matter, that it means that we're saying all cops are bad or that we're anti-police. And I'm only speaking from my perspective, but I think it's important as we're having this conversation to recognize that what most people want is for people to be treated fairly and the same, and for those few cops that are racist or who make bad decisions or who are overly aggressive, that they are held accountable. And wanting those police officers to be held accountable will make policing safer for all those other good cops that are out there protecting us. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that improving and reforming policing is going to make that job safer and better for the good cops that are out there in our society. And that's just my perspective, but I think it's important to remember that from my perspective, what I want to see is a better world for our friends. Black Lives Matter, absolutely. And for the community to be safer as a whole because of it, for everyone. So that's just my perspective, and I wanted to say that.
My name is Lee Elder. Can the people in the back hear me? Okay, cool. So I wanted to express my gratitude to the folks that organized this march. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want to talk about our sense of belonging to this place really quickly. Both my parents grew up here, and I didn't grow up here, but this place is one of the places that I hold deeply as home. And I also want to speak to all the white folks out here, including myself, whose families have come here and started to call this place home and are shaping the reality of this place here. If any of us have a sense of belonging here, it's our duty to listen to the folks that are facing the most shit here and change what the reality is here for them. A part of that I want to say that my girlfriend Nina has taught me so generously is to not cut out our family members who are also shaping the reality of this country. If we have the ability to talk to them, that's our responsibility, and we need to talk to them about that. That means reparations. That means racism at work. That means talk to your coworkers in the truck on the way to the job. That means talk to your family at the table. If you need, do whatever you need to do to make that feel safe, but just do it. Because for us as young people and all my older people here, our elders are not counted enough because our elders are going, but if they're dying, but our young people are here too, and like literally it's intergenerational. And I also want to talk to my other white gay people in the crowd and say there truly would not be pride without Black trans people, and they are still dying. Places like this. So yeah, last words, don't call the cops on your neighbors, don't call ICE, and listen to the folks that organize this, and yeah, shout your Venmos out also. There's so much money here.
I want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to, yeah, I gotta wrap it up. You guys may have to know, okay? All right, so if anybody has questions, comments, or concerns, please come and find us, come up to the front, and we will be willing to answer any questions that you have, comments, or concerns. If you want to join, you know, that's good too. All right, so I would like everybody to have a great day, disperse peacefully, and you know, any protests that happen after this, we do Teton POC and Allies has nothing to do with it. Just had to put that out there. Thank you for coming out. Again, questions, comments, and concerns, come on up. Oh, one more thing, hold on, everybody don't leave. Hold on.
Again, thank you guys for coming out. I did want to give you a little bit of information about our group. Teton People of Color and Allies was created about 2 weeks ago by a group of random people who shared a like idea. I just wanted to let you know that we have worked tirelessly. These people have been dedicated and they have shared their opinions and have been willing to listen to me and to all of my fellow people as well. We are not currently funded. We are in the process of becoming a nonprofit. Okay, we wanted to address something as well. Low-key. That would be awesome, thank you. Everyone that's been involved in our group is from around the area. We are not from an outside area. We are also not politically motivated at all. So if anyone is interested, anyone has questions, please let us know. By show of hands, how many people enjoyed our dialogue today? Awesome. So this is what we're working towards. This is what we're trying to do every week. If I can have the mic. We'd love to see you all out with our group on Wednesday the 24th. There will be details on our Facebook page, so check that out. It's just Teton POC and Allies. And we'd love to have another conversation with you.
Okay, so somebody wanted the Venmo, Cash App, right? Well, Cash App is JWallace97. $5. Your boy's broke. Okay, have a nice day. We're not responsible for anything else that happens today. So don't cause violence. Please don't call traffic up. I pray.
Just one more second.
Yeah, we encourage you guys to keep having your dialogue and have conversation. But I think today we made a statement by marching across town peacefully, quietly, respectfully, and we don't want to ruin that now with behavior that does not reflect that. And then I had one more thing to read to you guys. This is our statement for our group. Our goal is to build a community that is 100% inclusive. We will continue to do the work to break down systemic injustice, racism, and inequality. We invite all allies to assist in these endeavors. Your voice matters. Our mission is to educate, spread awareness, and spark dialogue, just like we did today, while breaking down social barriers. Our purpose is to celebrate our community's cultural diversity while shedding light on the challenges that minorities face. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, please join us. Thank you.